haven't done a video for quite a long time, and that's because I haven't this year really gone very far afield at all. I've been far too busy, and I figured I'd exhausted any of the local locations for connections to folklore and tradition and customs and stuff, and I thought that was it. But then yesterday I was reading one of my books on folklore and tradition and customs, looking up something interesting to put on the Facebook page to do with New Year customs, and I stumbled across something which has a direct connection to where I live. This is the village I live in, and there is a connection. It's something I hadn't even thought about, and then I stumbled across it in one of my books, right? And yeah, basically the reason I'm doing this video up in the churchyard, by the way, this is the churchyard. My very first video was here. It was about the phantom ball that appeared one afternoon and crashed through the wall. Well, I'm back up in the churchyard above the village. But this, what I'm going to talk about in this very short video today, is I'm going to talk about something that's a regional variation of the hooded animal tradition, which is found across Britain and Ireland. Up in northern England, you've got the old tup, you've got the old bull, you've got the old horse, there's the broad in the Cotswolds, and it's very famous in Wales. In fact, I was looking at images recently. In Wales, you've got the Mari-Lwyd, which is basically a horse's skull covered in a sackcloth or white sheet, carried from house to house by a group of mummers, performers, and would go house to house, knock on the door, sing to gain entry, and then share food and drink. And that's a tradition that's still going on in Wales between Christmas and New Year. So yeah, I've known about that, but I wasn't aware that there's a peculiarly Kentish tradition. It's peculiar not only to Kent, but to this area of Kent, East Kent, and it's called hoodening. Now, I recognise that word, hoodening, because down there, and shortly I'll go down there and I'll show you, when we first moved here 20 odd years ago, all you've got in our village is a hairdresser's and two pubs. One pub was called the Swan and the other one was called the Hooden Horse, okay, and it had a fantastic piece of artwork of what looked like a hobby horse, and I just assumed Hooden Horse is a corruption of hobby horse, and it was a really good pub. It's closed now, and it had sold, but I'd just seen walking past it. It's for sale again. I'd love to buy that and turn it into a house. But yeah, it's an old pub. You'll see it shortly. But it was called the Hooden Horse, and it was a really good pub. It was very much the style of pub that you see in American Werewolf in London, where you walk through the door and immediately all the locals in there just stop and stare at you. Every time we went in for years up until it closed, even though we were locals by then. No, that peculiarly British thing of conversation stopping and you being eyed up as you find a seat. It carried on down there. But anyway, I just thought Hooden Horse was a corruption of hobby horse because of the illustration, but it's not. It is, as I say, a hooded animal custom. And yeah, this horse was called the Hooden Horse. It was a wooden horse's head mounted on a 4 foot pole. Sorry, it's quite early in the morning. With a hinged jaw that was operated by a string, and it was operated by a person who was hidden under a sackcloth. And the procession would set off. It would be the Hooden Horse would be followed by a group of musicians, but led by a man in female clothing called a Molly, and they would go from door to door expecting payment for their arrival. And for a long time it was thought because of Hooden, there was some thought that it might be just a connection to Woden or Odin, but yeah, folklore experts and that they can't find anything to back that up at all. There's no evidence to back that up at all. There's no historian has come up with anything either. A more accepted explanation is the word Hooden is just a corruption of hooded, because it's a hooded horse. But the first written account for this custom in Kent comes from the early 18th century, and then the tradition seems to have carried on for 200 years, and it kind of like petered out round about the time of the First World War, but it was revived in like the 1950s, and it still does happen. I'm a bit gutted that only a year or so ago at Maidstone, which is just down the road, there was a display of Hooden Horse heads. I'd love to have seen that, but I'm going to look into it more. Maybe I can do a report if somebody has got a display up, right? So yeah, I mean, it's been resurrected, although I'm not aware of anywhere around here that is doing it this Christmas. But it's really weird. It's, as I say, peculiar to Kent and peculiar to East Kent. It doesn't exist in West Kent, and Kent isn't a big county. And it seems to have been that all the people, the mummers, the Molly, the Hooden Horse, they were farm labourers. They were people who worked with horses. Yeah, I've got to look into this more. And maybe there will be a follow-up about this. I just thought I'd do this short video today just to put something up on the YouTube channel, and it gets me out the house on a... we're in that dull period now between Christmas and New Year where not much is actually happening. One thing's finished, you wait for the next thing to start. So, as I say, it's early on a Sunday morning. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to just finish with a little bit of a shot of the pub. Well, there it is. What a terrific place. Yeah, maybe I should get a lottery ticket and it'd be brilliant timing that. It really would. So yeah, that's the pub. That's our hairdressers there, right? I looked into it. I think it became a pub in about 1850. I don't know if it was built as a pub or it was converted from something else, but 1850, and it opened. Hang on, pause as the car comes past. Go. It opened, when it opened in like 1850, it was called the Black Dog. So there's a folklore connection there to the spectral Black Dog. Yeah, and then it became the Hooden Horse. Then it became the Hoodener's Horse. It's a shame the pub sign has gone. So that's that. Oh, I just finished by saying the tradition also seems to continue. There's a restaurant called the Hooden, not far away, and there's Hooden on the Water, which is another pub. So yeah, there you go. Oh, and that's our other pub. That's the Swan, which is now the Swan and Dog. So yeah, short video. hope you found that interesting. And 2026, I'm definitely going to get out on the road and do more videos. So yeah, Happy New Year, and see you then.